will the Washington Huskies use being an underdog to the Mountain West as motivation? Gianni and Marco and I will talk about just that. Welcome to the Wager Talk video. We are talking Washington Huskies, Utah State Aggies. Gianni, lead us off on this video and your thoughts on this game.
Wrong team's favored. I think this game should be a pick'em. I think the value's on Washington, not that opener of 3, now that it's, at that 2 range. Yeah, it's kind of a coin flip game. But for me, it's Washington or leave the game alone. And for me, it's kind of simple. Washington, if you look at how this team is made, you remember when Mike Hopkins came over, 2 years ago. Prior to him coming over, that team had won only 2 games in the Pac-12. Now they got to the championship game 2 years later. And how did he do it? Because he talked 4 sophomores at that time into staying. And they're now seniors. This is why they're here. This is why they stayed in college, to make a run in the tournament. Now this is their last chance. And they got a pretty good team, defensively especially. And if there's one thing we know about Utah State in this matchup is they're going to have to outscore Washington to win this game and cover because they're favored. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against this zone of Washington's. I think they're going to have a lot of problems matching up against the Syracuse zone that I don't think they're used to seeing. And let's not forget, as good as Utah State may be offensively, if you look at their stats, they did it against the number 170th strength of schedule defensively. Yeah. They didn't do it against any juggernauts.
San Diego State's probably the only top 100.
Even defensively, they're very weak, and they played a slate of weak offenses. So I don't think Washington's going to have any problems on the offensive side of the ball. And then if they choke them defensively, for me, like I said, it's Washington or leave the game alone. The wrong seeds, flip them.
Marco, agree or disagree?
Neither. I'm on the total in this game.
Okay.
First of all, what I want to say with Washington is they dominated the regular season in the Pac-12. In an earlier video, I talked about what I thought of the Pac-12 this year, and I don't think a lot of it. I think it was a very weak Pac-12.
And 99% of the public agrees with you, except Bill Walton.
Yeah, it was not good. And the one thing that made Washington good in this conference was that Syracuse zone that they run. It's tough to crack. If you're not used to playing that.
Exactly.
And they play a physical basketball. Most of the teams in the Pac-12, they're more of finesse teams. They want to go up and down the floor. And that's why Oregon made the run that they made in the conference tournament, because they were playing good defense and were playing physical basketball. Well, guess what? Utah State, yes, it's a lesser conference, the Mountain West, but they play a good defense. They're a top 10 defense.
And it may even be in question if they're lesser than the Pac-12 this year.
Yeah. I mean,
top to bottom. Yeah, you're right.
Top 4 teams in the Mountain West. I will go ahead and put them close to
Arguably,
the top 4 with the Pac-12. But here's where I'm going to go with the total. And I'm not going full game total. I'm going first half under. You've got these 2 teams. They're traveling clear across country. They can't be happy about playing where they're playing. And Washington really, I think, got screwed in the seeding, being shipped back to play in Columbus. This is a team that won their conference. They had a good record. They were there all year, and they lost in the championship game. There should be no shame in that.
25 wins, conference champion, you get to the finals. I agree with you.
And you ship them east like that. And then Utah State. So you're going to have 2 teams playing here, back east. Also, they play great defense. And then we talk about teams coming into the new arenas. That first game, the Thursday game or the Friday game, when you're playing that game and you haven't played in that arena, you're shooting your shoot-arounds and practices before. And it's not the same as the game when you've got all.
It makes a lot of sense what you're saying.
When you have all of the fans in there and the sight lines are different, and you got butterflies to start a game. I think this is going to be a slow start to this game. I'm taking under with these 2 teams.
What you just made sense with, and it's going to take a little while for Utah State to figure out how to score against this team, or how to penetrate, how to move the ball. Because remember, practicing against someone pretending to be them isn't the same thing as when they get on the court. I say that all the time with fighting. They could practice all they want, and once you get in the cage and there's a different guy across from you than who you were sparring with, it's a whole different story.
That's why Syracuse goes into deep runs. When you're playing in conference play, these teams face each other twice. They've now seen that zone 4 times in the last 2 years.
Right.
You grow accustomed to it. Okay, Marco and I agree. Marco, I love that play. I really do. I agree. I think it's a great play. I think the thought process is completely correct.
Yeah, great
and I agree with you that Washington should be favored as well. Hey, we all agree on this play, and we're going to say it to you one more time. This is our final video, but we know there's going to be a lot of viewers here that are not accustomed to going WagerTalk or Sports Memo to buy a play. Your first play can be absolutely free. Use the code MM20. You'll get a $20 discount off a single play or off a package. It is for first-time viewers only. WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, and thank you for joining us for our March Madness WagerTalk videos.